You feel it building somewhere behind your eyes, an itch you can't quite reach, a pressure with nowhere to go. Your brain gives you exactly one honest warning. Then it takes the decision away from you entirely. You've felt this 1,000 times, and yet you've probably never once stopped to ask the strange question hiding inside it. Why can you feel a sneeze coming, undeniably, clearly, and still do absolutely nothing to stop it? The answer isn't willpower. It was never willpower. The moment a sneeze crosses a certain threshold in your body, you are no longer the one making the decision. Here's how it actually starts. Somewhere inside your nose, tiny nerve endings, part of what's called the trigeminal nerve, are constantly on alert. Dust, pollen, a sudden change in temperature, even just a little too much pepper. Any of these can trigger those nerve endings to fire off a signal. That signal doesn't go to the thinking part of your brain first. It goes almost immediately to a small, ancient structure deep in your brainstem, sometimes informally called the sneeze center. And this is where things get interesting. The sneeze center doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for your conscious mind to weigh in. It simply activates a pre-written automatic sequence, one your brain has never had to think about, not even once, in your entire life. Have you ever wondered why you can't just decide, mid-sneeze, to change your mind? Because at that point, dozens of muscles have already been given their instructions. Your diaphragm contracts sharply. Your intercostal muscles, the ones between your ribs, tighten in coordination. Your vocal cords slam shut for a fraction of a second, building pressure like a cork in a bottle. Your eyelids clamp closed almost every single time without exception. And then, all at once, everything releases. This is not a single muscle twitching. This is an entire orchestra of your body moving in perfect practiced sync, conducted by a part of your brain that never asks for your opinion. In 2014, a fluid dynamics researcher at MIT named Lydia Buruiba used high-speed cameras to actually capture what a sneeze looks like at the moment of release. What she found surprised even her own field. A sneeze doesn't just launch a spray of droplets in a straight line, the way textbooks had assumed for decades. It produces something closer to a turbulent, fast-moving gas cloud, carrying tiny droplets far further than anyone had previously measured, some of them staying suspended in the air far longer than expected. Your body isn't just clearing an irritant, it's launching a small, forceful weather event, engineered by muscles you never consciously trained to work together. So why can't you stop it partway through? Because by the time you feel that final, unmistakable tickle, the signal has already left the input stage and entered the output stage. Your trigeminal nerve did its job. Your brainstem made its decision. The muscles are already executing a sequence that was written into your nervous system long before you were born. Trying to stop a sneeze at that point is a little like trying to stop a wave after it's already broken. The energy is already moving. There's nowhere left for the decision to be made. This is also why holding in a sneeze can genuinely hurt. When you pinch your nose and clamp your mouth shut mid-sneeze, you're not stopping the reflex. You're just redirecting an enormous amount of built-up pressure with nowhere safe to go. That pressure can travel backward, into your ears, your sinuses, occasionally even your throat. Doctors have documented cases of injured eardrums and, in rare instances, damaged blood vessels from people trying to physically override a reflex their own nervous system had already finished writing. Your body built this system to be fast for a reason. An irritant in your airway is potentially dangerous. Waiting for conscious permission would be too slow. So evolution handed this decision to a part of your brain that doesn't hesitate, doesn't second-guess, and doesn't care what you had planned for the next half-second of your day. But here's where it gets even stranger. For some people, the trigger isn't dust or pollen or pepper at all. It's light. Somewhere between 18 and 35% of people sneeze almost immediately after stepping into bright sunlight. This isn't superstition, and it isn't a coincidence. It's a real, documented genetic trait, sometimes referred to by the wonderfully dramatic name autosomal dominant, compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst syndrome. Most people just call it the photic sneeze reflex. In 2010, a neurologist and geneticist at the University of California, San Francisco, named Louis Tacek, led research examining the genetics behind this exact reflex. Working with a large data set of genetic information, his team identified specific gene regions strongly associated with people who sneeze in response to sudden, bright light. Their leading theory is almost poetic in its simplicity. The nerve pathway that controls your pupils constricting in bright light runs extremely close to the nerve pathway that controls sneezing. In some people, the wiring is close enough that one signal spills over into the other. Your eyes adjust to the light, and your nose, quite literally, gets crossed signals. You're not imagining it if bright light makes you sneeze. Your nervous system's wiring diagram just happens to have two circuits running a little too close together. Doesn't it seem strange that a reflex tied to protecting your eyes could accidentally trigger a reflex tied to protecting your airway? It's not strange, once you understand that your nervous system wasn't designed all at once, the way an engineer might design a modern circuit board with clean, isolated pathways. It evolved gradually, adapting older systems for new purposes, occasionally leaving a few wires close enough to cross. This idea that your body runs on fixed automatic reflex circuits rather than constant conscious control isn't new. In the early 1800s, a Scottish anatomist named Sir Charles Bell was among the first to map out how nerves carry very specific types of signals along dedicated pathways, some purely sensory, some purely motor, working together in fixed, repeatable circuits. His work helped lay the foundation for how we understand reflexes today, the sneeze among them. Long before brain scans, before high-speed cameras, before genetic sequencing, Bell had already begun proving that your nervous system runs on wiring, not willpower. Which brings up one more question you've probably never thought to ask. Why don't you ever sneeze in your sleep? The irritants are still there. Dust can still land in your nose while you're unconscious. But during deep sleep, your brain actively suppresses many of these reflex pathways, including the one responsible for sneezing. Your trigeminal nerve is technically still transmitting information, but your sneeze center essentially stops listening. It's not that your body can't sneeze while you're asleep. It's that your brain has, temporarily, muted the entire circuit, which means the sneeze you feel building right now isn't just some minor bodily annoyance. It's proof that a specific, ancient, hardwired circuit in your brainstem is currently online, actively listening, and fully prepared to override your conscious mind the instant it decides the moment has come. You don't choose to sneeze. You were never really given that option. Somewhere in your nervous system, long before language, long before conscious thought even existed in the form you experience it now, your body decided that protecting your airway was too important a decision to leave in the hands of something as slow, distractible, and second-guessing as you. You feel it building somewhere behind your eyes, an itch you can't quite reach, a pressure with nowhere to go. But it was never really a warning at all. It was a notification. Your body had already made the decision, and it was simply letting you know, right before it happened anyway.